Recording this, sorry. Let me start again. The first swing trade we'll look at is Alcoa. This fired on Friday. What I liked was the higher lows, which led to the dragon flowing upwards. We've got in this location in here, the 30-period regression line in the black crossed the 30-period moving average. That's always a good thing. And then Friday we had the beginning of trending behavior with the price and both regression lines leaving the river with the dragon facing upward. It took out the previous day's high at 1365. I've got to stop in here at 1330. You wouldn't be wrong if you went underneath this last swing low down here at 1310, but I'm in at 1365. I'm going to be moving my stop up to 14 to lock in some of that goodness, but this is one, it's already made a move out to the Z. But what I like about it for the future is that we had this volatility compression in the Bollinger Bands, then the sideways quiet channel, and we just got the first day of breakout here. So even though we're at 3Z, there's really quite a lot of room for this to go as high as 16. So having a stop down here at 1310 or 13, nothing wrong with that, but this is one I'll be managing intraday. So that's Alcoa. All right, let's move on to Apple. Apple's one that also fired on Fridays. Technology has been a leader. Apple's been a leader. It's had this nice this Z pattern all the way down from over plus 3Z out here all the way down to the bottom of the river where it found support with 2 days. It had found support at the edge of the river, opened higher. When it took out Thursday's high, here's my trade frame. I entered here at 128 and a nickel. I put a stop below the swing low, so I got about a $2.50 risk on this one. It has just started to move nicely. My targets to the upside are the RL270. That's the long-term fair value. And just look how nice and stable and steady that is. And we've really only had this one excursion over top of that fair value, and that's where I think it's going to try to get back to. Ultimately, I think it gets to 135. So this is buying Apple on sale. It's on the right side of fair value. And if we get above fair value here at about 131, then I think the next move goes pretty well. If it gets about at about 135 is where I'm looking at adding a position. Nothing sooner than that for the swing trade. Okay, so that's Apple. That one's live and continuing then. This is Boeing. So this is actually a Z pattern. I haven't framed this one out yet. You can see the last thing we did here was get short. Was got short here, had this nice run. We were right at the edge of cash in this one, so I've got one short position on it right now. So here's how I'm going to play that one. I'm going to frame a new trade, basically as a stop and reverse. I've taken off on Monday. All right, so where I'm going to place that trade is I will get long. Basically, I will cover the short at 145.50. I'll get long at 145.50. My stop on that will be underneath the swing low. That's also underneath the swing low is where I will add a second position if this doesn't cash me out. If it doesn't cash me out, so if it just opens inside yesterday's range, for example, and then goes through 143, that's where I will add a second position. But otherwise, I will stop and reverse and get long at 145.50. And then my targets there are basically the edge of the river at 147.5, then the Bollinger Band mean at 150. So that's Boeing. Nothing going on in Caterpillar. This is just one that I missed. I should have been in this one somewhere right about, but this is a span of control. Should have been in it right around in here on this little pullback and this takeoff, because that's where we had a move from out of the river in a period of almost quiet channel. Now we get the beginning of trending behavior. This should have been an entry somewhere around 83, but I missed that one, and right now I just feel like it's already at Z plus 2. The only way you can buy this one is if you were to buy it at 88.40, betting on a change in the direction. But the direction has been down along with all of the resource stocks. On the other hand, this may be one that's worth looking at. Here, I'm going to talk myself right into this one. We're going to go back a little bit and just see. Yeah, you can see the magnitude of the sell-off in Caterpillar. So, in fact, the next reasonable resistance level is not till you get over here, about 94. So there's room to the upside here, about $6. So if you can manage about a $3 stop, which would be down here underneath the dragon, there's actually a way to play that. Let me just go ahead and frame that trade then on that basis, because I actually like Caterpillar, and I like the return to materials that we're seeing with copper, and the return to energy. That sounds like a return to normal. So let me set up a Caterpillar trade here. I'm willing to get long on Caterpillar then at looks like about 88.40, and then I'm going to pick looks like about a $4 stop, 84.40. Yeah, I don't mind that one at all. Okay. Yeah, that's my trade frame on Caterpillar, the swing trade frame. Yeah, these are all swing trades that I'm talking about here. Intraday I trade in the usual way, but these are all swing trades. Now, Cliff is one that I have been swing trading in short steps here continuously. It's one of my favorite trading vehicles, and so I tend to grab these intraday as well. The first one starting early in April was this move, the 1, 2, 3 entry, and we ended up getting this piece. It pulled back, held support at the Bollinger Band mean like it's supposed to. We got this Bollinger Band pinch, and then a breakout, which we bought here at about 5:30, and then cashed up here near the close of the day. The following day, about 6:10, we got short in it at 585. Cashed that one on Thursday around 550, and now we're in this posture. Right now, it's just stuck in the middle of this trading range, so I don't really have anything to work on. If I were to be a betting man, this is one where if I saw weakness in the market and in the basic materials, then this is one where I would be willing to go short on Cliff. I think that's really where the more likely play is. With the idea of playing back to 520 as the target at the Bollinger Band mean. It really has to get above 640 for me to be interested. Now here is the way that I may end up playing this one, is that this is a case where I like to go turbo first intraday and then leave a piece overnight for the swing. So this is one, if it were to open down here around 570 and then start taking off, my sense is that I can get a position somewhere in here between 575 and 630 with the idea it's going to go up and test this price level. I can actually, this is actually a reasonable intraday swing, an intraday size move in CLF. Now, if we get that, if it opens down around here and then looks like it's going to close well, I would leave 1/5 of my position in the hopes that it would really take off. So Cliff is one that I will not swing first until I've made some money intraday. Then I will use markets money to hold a piece overnight. That's the only way I play Cliff at this price level. Corn is one that I've been terrible on. I should have been much better on this one. And the reason is this is a classic RLFF that I just flat missed. You get this excursion here from 26.25 all the way down to 23. That's a 10% divergence in the opinion of the short-term traders measured by the RL10 and the long-term traders who placed up fair value down here at 23. And when you get that kind of divergence and then you get price rolling over, this is the area you want to be short in. And now you have this play where the 10 has come all the way back to the 270, and now everybody agrees on what the new that fair value is now where it is. Price found it's all the way back here to the 270. So anytime I see that divergence between the RL10 and the RL270, that sets up a difference of opinion, an extreme difference of opinion between the short-term traders and the long-term traders. That's most of the time resolved in the direction of the long-term traders. And that was the case here, and that's just a trade that I missed. Shame on me. But that's the main idea behind the RLFF. This next one is CVX. So Chevron. This is part of the improvement in the energy complex. We had a Z pattern down in here. It's crossed the 270 here, and now everything is on the upside. But what I want you to notice is that the divergence on the downside between the 270 and the 10 is now mirrored by the distance between the 270 and the 10 to the upside. So it's done a perfect yin-yang. It's pulled all the way through, moved in here. Now, we've had 1 day of price collapse. Where I'm looking at Chevron in here is that if we get weakness in energy, then the short side trade is the interesting trade here, and that's going short around 108 with the idea of capturing the move down to 104. And that would complete the thought. Now what you have, this almost looks like a bow tie. I want you to notice the symmetry in the difference between how far the short-term traders can move Chevron away from the long-term fair value. The long-term fair value is this pink line, the RL270. This is how far short-term traders were able to push it down. When it reversed, that's how far above it they were able to stretch it. It's the same distance. And now price is on its way back. It's halfway back to the fair value. And so what we would say is if we get weakness in energy, your target is 104 in Chevron. But if it were to find support here, well, then you're going to get this kind of a move, and you can extend the dragon and the river, and then it's 112 on the upside. That's if this, if we don't get a return back down to these levels. If it holds here, then 112 is now our new upside target in Chevron. So the energy sector is going to be very interesting. Chevron is one way to play that. Disney is a relative strength leader. It's the #1 stock in the Dow. This is a trade that triggered for me on Friday. And this one was a rejection of this sell-off. So this is the move, you know, from this lower low to that higher low. And then this total move here is the one that has moved Disney to the very top of the stack of the Dow. And you notice that the RL270 is just going and going and going. And then we had the short-term pullback away from the primary trend, which now makes all this interesting. And so we essentially had a day zero of a 551. It turned out to be a 551 pattern, because we had the price 5 days ago was up here. There was the pullback. It was up over the last 5 weeks, down for the last 5 days, and then my entry is at 110. This is one I want to hold longer, so my stop is a $3 stop down here at 107, below the swing low. And if it gets above 112, off it goes, and it's going to be a very nice long run in Disney. So that's a swing trade that's open for me right now. Now, we looked at Chevron a few minutes ago. Devon Energy is a better one, in my view, for playing the energy sector, because it's a mid cap rather than a large cap, so it's going to be more nimble. You can see that it's already above its previous swing high over here and just starting to move. So I think you can buy it if it exceeds 69.50. You could buy it, and then you could have a $4 stop if you wanted to be down here, $2 stop if you were here. But when this one swings, it really swings well, and if it takes out 69.50, then there's nothing holding it back. So if energy is strong, look to Devon Energy as a way to play it. This is Brazil. You can see by the vertical blue lines, I've been trading the heck out of this thing. This is the current trade situation. The last trade in it was a swing trade that closed out on Tuesday of last week. And that was this trade. So it had pulled up, back, found support in the dragon, and we got a 1, 2, 3 entry here at about 35, which we cashed at 37 for a couple R. Here was the pullback. It has found support now inside the river, inside the dragon at the edge of the river. So you could think of this as pattern 4 or pattern 3 in the RLCO. So what I've done now is I've established a trade frame. Let me get my pen here. Hold on. So the blue line, the vertical blue line says this is the day I set up the frame. I'm not in the trade yet. What I'd like to do is get long at 36.50. It takes out yesterday's high or Friday's high with an initial stop down here at 35.75. So that'd be about a 75-cent risk inside here. I think it gets up to 37.50 pretty easily. I can't add a second position till it gets above that. I'm still considering whether or not I want to go short. I would have to see some real market weakness to do that. To go short at 35.75, the target's down here at 34, and that would start off as an intraday trade. But we got some markets money on this one already, so I'm willing to stay with Brazil. So that's not an open trade right now. That's a trade that's ready to go. I'm still stalking China. This is a tough one just because it's been up here at this Z+3 area. Oops. When it made this move out here, it was up on the Z+3 on the red line. It's really just held steady through here. If it fails, the long-term fair value is back to 46. So I'm very tempted to go short on this one in the following way. So let's set up let me show you the trade frame that I like. I'm willing to go long if it gets above a previous swing high, about 52.80, but I'm willing to go short at about 51.20. And then my target is down here at the 270 regression line. All right, so that's my trade frame in China. Okay. All right, I'm still holding the swing trade in General Electric. The General Electric swing trade has done nothing but go to sleep on me here. We got into that one on the 23rd of April. The trade frame was here on the 22nd. We ended up getting long here with an initial stop below the swing low. It's held the whole time. We're a little bit in the money right here. I'm holding out for a retest up here at 28.75. I sort of like the upward slope of everything here. The 270 is actually rolled up. The river's facing up. The 90 is up. The 10 is up. The 30 is up. It won't take much to get the price and the 10 out of the river and into the floodplain, and I define that as the beginning of trending behavior. And so that's really an extension of this move now. So I'm hopeful in the long term on GE. I actually kind of like that one. It hasn't returned much money yet, but that's a position that could really grow. We're running out of gas here, so let's. And it's getting late. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. Last one I'm going to cover is the Russell Small Caps. This is one that fired on Friday. This is a pattern 7 in the RLCO. So we had the Z -3, and it triggered at Z -2 here. So I'm long at about 122 with $1.25 of risk at $1.25 of risk at 120.75. My price targets. Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit for you. Price targets on this one, the Bollinger Band mean is 1R here at the RL30. That's right in the middle of the dragon. It wouldn't hurt my feelings if it got to the far side of the river at about 126, the far side of the floodplain. So we entered it at Z -2. So really, I guess the first 1R, it gets us here at the edge of the river. Then it's into the dragon and the Bollinger Band mean. That's 2R. Then the 3R extension would be the far side of the river. So this is one where if it violates 120, then I'm willing to go short. But as it stands right now, this triggered on Friday, and off we go. Okay, so that was about a dozen swing trades, some of which are continuation patterns, some of which are new trades that just fired like on Friday. Because Thursday was an extreme sell-off moment, that there was a natural rebound on Friday. And then there's some that have set up based on Friday's price action to potentially take action on Monday. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to cover for tonight. Pending your questions, that's all I have. I'll see you guys in the chat room. Would encourage you to consider the distance learning option for the Kansas City Research Weekend. There's some very interesting things going on research for swing trade patterns and the core blended monthly rebalancing. I think it's going to be interesting. So more to follow on that. Just again, send me an email if interested. That's all I got. So you guys take good care, and we'll see you in the chat room.